Welcome everyone. In this video, we will learn about the agentic AI. The term agentic AI or the artificial AI agents are very commonly used in these days. So we will create a demo application from the scratch to make you understand the concept behind the agentic AI. So before we deep dive into the demo, let's understand what the agentic AI means. The agentic AI refers to a type of an artificial intelligence which is capable of making decisions and carrying out the task on its own. And the good thing is that it does not require any human intervention. We can understand this by taking an example. So let's say we launch a ChatGPT application and I type a question that what is the leave balance left for this year? So see, this is the question is very specific to the company and individual employee. And the well obvious answer come from the chat GPT is that I don't have access to the personal or company leave record. And that is expected because the large language model here is trained on the public domain data and it does not have any information about your company specific information. So in this case, we need some kind of agent or some kind of system that interacts with your company information and present the information which is asked by an employee. So without any delay, let's directly jump into the demo application. So in the demo application, first we will focus on Phi data. We'll create our account and then we will create account into the Grok, which is the OLAMA framework. And then we will write some of the Python code. So I launch a Chrome browser and go to Phi data. So Phi data is a framework to build the agents. They support multiple large language models, for example, Ollama, Anthropic, OpenAI, and they support multiple inbuilt tools, for example, payment, web search, and financial services. They have a very well documented website as well. You have to create the account into the Phi data and click on the try demo. So once you click on the try demo, you go to the API key and you set up your API key here. I have already done that. We'll use this API key in our demo. Next, because agent need the large language model first, so you have to get the large language model credentials. So here we will be using Ollama, and for that we are using Grok. And I already created an account, so I directly jump into the dev consoles. So here you see we have a many large language model exposed. We'll be using the Llama 3.370 billion, which is the latest framework or latest LLM model by the Meta. Let me launch the Visual Studio. The very first thing first, we will create a virtual environment because all of the dependency we are going to install will reside into that virtual environment. So for that, we need to issue a command python -m venv and then type your virtual environment name. I just type in my env. The virtual environment has been now created. We have to first activate the virtual environment before we use it. For that, let's activate it. And you can see my env is activated now. So any dependency we will install now will reside into this virtual environment. So I will go back to my actual folder. Now let's install the dependency of the Phi data first. For that, we have to install Phi data. And this is now installing the Phi data framework. Okay, the Phi data has been installed now. Let's write some code. So we have to first bring the agent dependency, then the model dependency, and to store all of our credential, we will create an environment. When we create a load.env instance here, then it will expect the .env file. Let's create a .env file here. And in the .env file, we need to keep the Grok API key. I'll put the key later, but in your case, you have to keep the key here secure. And then go back to the Python file again. And let's create our first agent. We need to specify the ID. So ID will be the same text which you have seen in the Grok's website. So this is the Llama model ID. Let me copy and paste. So our first agent is now created. Let's test this agent. I'll write some print statement and then I'll type some of the prompt. For example, hi, how are you? So let's try to run this application. Okay, so we get some error. This is about that Grok is not installed. So it is suggesting to install the Grok dependency first. I will install this. Okay, Grok has been installed now. So let's try again. Okay, you can see this is printed very nicely in the formatted message. So my prompt is that, hi, how are you? And the response came back from the model. So as you can see, this agent is able to talk to the agents and get the response. But we have not associated any of the tool yet. If we include any question in the prompt which is real time basis, for example, what is the stock price of the Facebook or the IBM, then it will not be able to answer because it will still be listening from the Llama model, which is the pre-trained on the historical data. So let's now attach some of the tool in the next file. Create a new file, just make a copy of it and rename it. So everything remains same in this file, except we'll be adding the tools. So tools in the agent provides a specific capability to perform the real-time based task. For example, we are going to add a tool, which is a Y Finance tool that is created by the Phi Data Framework, which gives us the real-time stock analysis. So let's import the dependency from the Phi data. Okay, so we have now imported the Y Finance tool and let's associate the Y Finance tool here. So tools are the array in the agents, which means that you can associate multiple tools in a single agent. or you can create multiple agents with one tool in associated with each. So Y Finance tool needs some of the parameters to perform it better. For example, the stock price. I want the stock price of a stock. Then we also need the analyst recommendation for buying or selling the stocks. And furthermore, we can, let's say, we can query the fundamentals of stock. Now we have associated a Y Finance tool with the agent. Y Finance stands for Yahoo Financial Tools. And let's ask a question that, one more thing I forgot is that we need to specify some more parameters. So markdown is equal to true. So this will print the response in the HTML formatted tables. And then we have to associate an instruction for this tool, that what would be the behavior of this tool. So this is just like a prompt. So I'm asking here, I'm saying that use tables to display the data whenever someone asks the stock analysis or stock fundamentals. Okay, so now we are ready with the agent. Let's ask some of the question related to the stocks. I ask a question that what's the current stock price for Apple today? We need to import the dependency of the Y Finance first. So the dependency has been installed now, and let's try to run the application again. Okay, so this has printed the prompt that what is the current stock price for Apple today. And you see the current stock price for the Apple today is $222. So this is possible because of the tools and agent. The default large language model, Llama, will not be able to answer it individually because it is trained on the historical data and does not have any real-time information. So let's explore some of the more capability. So I will dig down into the Y Finance tool and understand that how this whole thing works. As you can see, this is the tool which has several methods inside it. For example, get current stock price, get company news, or the analyst recommendations, income statements. So these are different functions inbuilt into this tool. Now, how does the large language model decide that which of the function needs to be invoked? So this is done by the prompt associated with each method. As you can see that this is the very nicely uh, prompt here, crafted prompt here, which explains that what this function does and what is the parameter expected in this function. So when we associate a tool with the agent, then the agent read each of its methods defined inside the tool and read the prompt. And now the large language model decides that based on the prompt and the user query, which of the method is suitable to invoke. So we can see this in more detail by enabling the debug mode. So let me enable a debug and see the how the network how the trace happens here. So I enable a debug is equal to true, and we will also enable one of the more flag, which is the show tool calls. So this show tool calls decides that which of the tools have been invoked. Now let's try to run this with these flags enabled. So as you can see that there are several steps involved in invoking the AI agents with the prompt that we supplied. So it decides that this is the tool which detect that get current price stock price function will be used. and then it printed that what calls it has made, and finally it has produced the response, the current stock price for this. And the method specifically it used is the get current stock price. So for example, if you ask that what is the recommendations for buying this stock, then it may use one or more methods inside that tool to determine the response, because the response may include um, such as that the recommendation from the analyst and the current stock price. So why not, let's try this one and see that what response it comes. So the question is that what is the current stock price for Apple today, and and any recommendation to buy or sell. And let's now ask, run this prompt. So here we get the response, and it is very detailed in response. You can see that this is my prompt, that what is the stock price for the Apple, and any recommendations. So I'm expecting some kind of recommendation for buying and selling, and which is a stock analysis. So the tool has used two different methods, which is mentioned. For example, get current stock price and the get analyst recommendations. And it also passes the symbol of the stock um, that we mentioned, which is the Apple. And as you see that it has printed all this in the tabular format, because we have instructed that to print the response in the table format whenever it is needed. So a month ago, it is just us recommending some of the scores, that how much analysts saying that to buy or sell. So, and finally, it also do the conclusion that based on the current analyst recommendation, it seems that most analysts recommend buying Apple stock, with 23 analysts giving a buy rating and 8 analysts giving a strong buy ratings. So you can see that how personalized or how real time this analysis has come out of the agents. Uh, Now the question comes that this is all fine, this is inbuilt tool, but what if you want to attach your own tool? For example, a scenario that I want to ask a stock analysis which is not listed on the public company, or is not listed in the stock exchange. Then uh, how can we associate our own tool or the method? So let's create our own tool. So tool, you have seen that this is nothing, just a simple method. So I have a tool here. So let me paste a function. So this is the function in the Python, normal function, which is the get company symbol. It takes a company as an input parameter, which is a string. And then it has an instruction that use this function for the symbol of the company to determine the symbol of the company. And these are some of the mapping. Then I have specified A0012, which is just a weird name of the company and the symbol associated to it. I have specified that Tesla. And then it returns the symbol based on the company name we provide. So let's see that if I ask a prompt that can you determine the stock price of A0012, then if it uses this function or the tool, then it should be returning the Tesla stocks. And if it works, then we will be successfully able to create our own tool. So let's associate this. As I have already told you that this is the array of the tool. So let's associate the tool, which is a get company symbol. And we also have to do a instruction that if, for example, if you, let me put it into the string, if you don't know the company symbol, use the get company symbol function to get it. Yeah, rightly that I meant to say this. So I have installed the Copilot, which is why it suggested it correctly. And let's run that a prompt. And what is the current stock price for A0012 today? and I don't want the recommendation. Now let's try this prompt. So it has run now, and it's now determined it correctly that the current stock price for A0012 is the Tesla actually. So it has produced that the Tesla price, the stock price for the Tesla is $424, and this is expected because A0012 is not a public listed company, and it proves that the agent has used our custom tool get company symbol, and because of the debug mode we have enabled, it shows it as well that get company symbol, which is our method. So hence it proves that we can create our own custom tools. So I just want to show one more capability of agents is that not only the one model you can specify, but you can have your own. You can have the different model. For example, we are using Grok, but sometimes the Llama is not that enough mature to respond with the user prompt. So you can flip or switch the models as well. So let's try to use the OpenAI model here. I will clear the prompt and use the Azure OpenAI model. Okay, but before that, you have to install the dependency first. And let's try to observe that what is the response when we associate Azure OpenAI. Uh, and I'm using the Azure OpenAI because I don't have the free credit available with the OpenAI. So, but you can have your own credits available for the OpenAI. Otherwise, if you are not comfortable with the OpenAI, then you can continue with the Grok, and which is absolutely free. So let's try to associate the OpenAI, Azure OpenAI chat. And now Azure OpenAI chat needs certain parameters. I'll explain you all in details. So for example, it needs the ID, which is the GPT-4 model, and then the agent's endpoint, oh, sorry, Azure endpoints, and then it needs a deployment name as well. But if you're not familiar with the deployments in Azure OpenAI, you can just simply skip it. Uh, you can continue using Grok, but the folks who use the Azure OpenAI very often they will understand what the deployment means. So deployments means is it is the name of the model which you are using for your chats. Okay, so again, don't forget to add the Azure OpenAI key in your environment file, and you can find the syntax in the documentation. Uh, so I'm not showing you because I will ultimately delete the key anyway. So let's try to run this one and see what is the response now. Okay, we get the error that this is not having the dependency installed. So let's try to install it. So now OpenAI has been installed here, and again try the same run. Okay, so it looks like it's working, and let's see what the response is that. It says that it seems the stock symbol A0012 you mentioned isn't typical or recognizable. Please confirm the symbols. Okay, so this time the model could not recognize it. Let's try one more time and see if this is the same response. It looks like it has determined the correct response. So you can see the similar response it has produced, which was produced by the Grok model. And it says that the get company symbol A0012, it has invoked it. And then it determined that this is the Tesla symbol because we had this mapping. And now the response is produced. So OpenAI model is also helpful here to produce the right response. Now, there is one more capability I want to show you, which is the teams of the agents. So let's create a separate file for that. So here in this demo, we will be creating the teams of the agent, which means that you can have the multiple agents associated with each other, and then you can query, and then the agentic framework or the phi data framework determines that which of the agents and which tools needs to be invoked to satisfy the user prompt. So let's create some of the agent, and one of the agent I'll be using is the web agent. Um, and let's import the dependency first. And one of the tool we'll be using is DuckDuckGo, which is a very common for the Phi data or the Python developers. Okay, so DuckDuckGo we have installed, we have imported the dependency. Now let's create a agent for the web search. So DuckDuckGo is mainly it's a tool mainly used for searching over the internet, because again, the model is not capable of giving you the real-time information. But what if you want to search something on the internet on the real-time basis? So DuckDuckGo will help you to find the right search result from the internet. So let's create a web agent. So here I'm specifying the name of the agent. So let's give it the name is like a web agent. And again, you need to specify model. So I will specify Azure OpenAI model. So let's copy this as is. And for the tool, obviously, we are using the DuckDuckGo. Keep everything same. And let's give the instruction that you are uh, just include the sources whenever you are responding. Just a simple instruction. And then this is our finance agent. Okay, finance agent, and keep everything same, because we have removed the custom, so we don't need this instruction anymore. So here you see we have created two different agent, and now we need to create the team of the agent. So that will be again another agent, and you give some name to this. Again, the similar model we will be using, and similar property markdown. And then let's give the instruction to this. The instruction will be like always include sources, and then instruction for the finance agent. Now we will query against the agent team and ask that the question, for example, summarize the summarize the analysis, or summarize the analyst recommendation for Apple stock. So let's try to run. Okay, because DuckDuckGo is not installed here. So let me install the dependency. Yeah, and so we get the error pip install. We always get this error because I think we need to install the dependency all the time first. Um, Let me install the DuckDuckGo search dependency. So it has been installed, and now let's try the prompt. Okay, so we get the response that as of December 2021, analyst recommendation for Apple is that innovation this, here is a summary for this, and it has given the recommendations, but it looks like it has used the old data. So let me try the hitting the prompt again. So now the response comes back, which says that to summarize the analyst recommendation for Apple, we can look into the most current prominent evaluation from different analysts here. So they have now done the recommendations uh, and the scores, the number of analysts, what they say. For example, 20 analysts says that it's a strong buy. And then there is an analysis produced and also the conclusion. And they have also included the source that from where it is fetching this recommendation. So here in the third demo, we saw that we can have the multiple agents associated with each and can form the teams. And we can ask our queries to the team of the agent. And each agent can be built or can be meant for different purposes. So I hope this clears the concept of agentic AI, and I definitely would like to know your feedback in the comments that what you think about the agentic AI or any suggestions you have. Thank you for watching this video. Keep learning.